Welcome back to the Relationship Whisperer Show with Miss Dragonfly, where we discuss all things relationships with the aim to make marriage great again. Now, today, as usual, I will be looking at the astrology charts of someone well known, going through. Usually it's either someone in the news or a couple in trouble or a couple that has been. And then I will be giving relationship advice. And today will be a little special because today will be the last Relationship Whisperer show for the year 2024. But I will be back January next year, 2025, with a brand new show where I will have a new format on the show, and also I'll be taking queries, so you can call up and speak to me directly as well. So lots of exciting things happening, so be sure to follow my Facebook page for updates and times and info on when it will be broadcasted. But at the moment, the first show for 2025, I intend, would be on the 19th of January. All right, so everyone would have had all their Christmas breaks and holidays and get together with family and celebrated the new year and got it all out of their system. And then we start with a new year where we think about family, for people, especially for people married, and what's in store for 2025, a new year, and hopefully a much better year than it has been for 2024 for a lot of people. It's been a very tumultuous year. And also for those that are single, thinking about love in the new year, and as I know, a lot of people will be. So we'll be starting in January at this stage, aiming for the 19th of January. But I will keep you posted, so please follow my Facebook page. It's on Miss Dragonfly. Just search for Miss Dragonfly, or my other one, Make Marriage Great Again. Okay? To keep in contact and for latest updates. And and we'll be leading into Valentine's Day and talking about that and what's coming up regarding love. Okay? And I might have some special surprises for our listeners there. Okay, and to start off the show, I will be doing an astrology reading on someone that's been in the news lately. Not a celebrity, so to speak, but a politician. I know. You think, oh, not one of those again, politicians, but someone in a bit of trouble. So I thought I'll have a look at his astrology chart. And no, it's not Donald Trump. I've already done Donald Trump, and he's won. And so good for him. I may visit him again next year, because when he's due to be inaugurated, and see how he will be performing for his second term. But that's next year away. And in the meantime, today I'll be looking at another celebrity, and it's someone from the UK, and it's the current UK Prime Minister, Keir Starmer. Look, if anyone's been following the news, this new Prime Minister, Keir, spelled Keir. So when I first saw the name, I thought it was Kerr, but I was corrected, it's Keir. And apparently that is quite a common English name, but that was new to me. That was the first time I've heard of that name, personally. And it been in the news because, he's apparently just swept in on a landslide victory, I think in July this year. UK, where defeated Rishi Sunak's Tories party. Landslide win, and I think the Tories party, I think they've been in power like 12 or 14 years, something like that. And I guess people just wanted a change. But they got the change, but now I think it's more like buyer's remorse that they're having. There have been a petition that's gone viral, and it's reached like several million signatures now on people wanting another election to boot him out, so they can boot him out. I guess people are not happy with it. So got in on a landslide victory, and now people are going to don't think we like this anymore because of the policies he's enacted. So lots of controversies, and people are not happy, I guess, there with the inflation rate and the whole load of migrants, because this is the Labor Party, and Labor parties are more, what do I say, it's more seen more the progressive party. So I think Labor in the UK is like Labor in Australia, and also like Democrats in the US sort of thing. It's more lefties. And, people really got what they voted for. And then I guess people are thinking, it's kind of like not what we expected. I think people more of like wanting to get rid of the old government rather than wanting really this new government. So with all these policies and I guess this viewpoint of progressives, I guess people are seeing the progressives and they don't like it now. So heaps of controversy. I mean, a government that's came in on a landslide and been there only a few months, and people have already had enough. So, and calls to get rid of him, actually have another election so they can get rid of him democratically. I don't know if that's actually possible, seeing how democracies work. And I guess you have to have a term and then a general election. So we'll see what happens. So I'm going to have a look at his chart, his astrology chart, to have a look and see if we can see anything regarding his nature and also what's in store for him, if he will survive this, so to speak. Now, Keir Starmer, the British PM that's in trouble, trouble in all quarters. How can someone, I can't remember the last time you had a politician or political party come in, win the election on a landslide, and then a few months later, people want them out. Okay, and in particular, people are unhappy with him. So let's find out a little bit more about the man. Okay. So what it is, he has, besides becoming PM, he was leader of the Labor Party since 2020 and served as leader of the opposition from 2020 to 2024, and has been a member of Parliament since 2015 and the Director of Public Prosecutions from 2008 to 2013. That's the case. Well, this is something I've noticed with a lot of politicians in the Western world, is so many of them are lawyers or were lawyers before they started. I know it's something to do with either, they know about the legal system and so forth and so forth. And so they think, they'll do well in politics, and that's turned out to be quite true. Okay, because rules are in politics and legal matters and so forth. It can count as a lot of legal matters. So lawyers that deal with the law day in, day out would be familiar with it. And I guess then it's kind of, easier slide for them to go into politics than someone, let's say, that's been an engineer, so to speak. Or even doctors. So you do have doctors then becoming politicians. Mainly they start off looking after health portfolios, and then eventually they go into other areas. Don't think on top of my head there's been any doctor that's been that's headed been a head of a country, say president or prime minister. Though you do have something like, I think, Dr. Ben Carson in the US, a former neurosurgeon, and he served, I don't know, secretary of something under the Trump administration. I can't remember what he was in charge of, but things like that. It does happen with doctors, but I guess mostly lawyers, as in this is the case. Another lawyer. Okay. So a bit about him. He attended the selective school and law, and he was in the bar as well. And he practiced predominantly criminal defense work, specializing in human rights. And he served as a human rights advisor to the Northern Ireland Policing Board and was a Queen's Counsel in 2002. For those not familiar, Queen's Counsel basically means very senior counsel, very senior lawyers. Now they're called King's Counsel. Or I guess people that want to avoid, let's say anything to do with monarchy, stepping away from that, now they're known as senior counsel or silks. I think the term silks came from, the gowns that the lawyers wear, the higher up ones, they're made from silk, actual silk, which is a far more expensive fabric, and so reserved for more seniors. And that's where the term comes from. Okay, and during his tenure as Director of Public Prosecutions and Head of the Crown Prosecution Service, he dealt with a number of major cases, including the Stephen Lawrence murder case. And in 2014, New Year honours, he was appointed a Knight Commander of the Order of the Bath for services to law and criminal justice. So he's done a lot with criminal law, as I understand it. And his policing work in Northern Ireland influenced him to pursue a political career. And he was elected to the House of Commons at the 2015 general election. He supported the Remain campaign in 2016 European Union membership referendum. That time when, there was parts pressuring the UK to leave the European Union, and the Liberal faction, Progressive, wanted them to stay, whereas the Conservatives wanted to leave. So straight off the bat there, he's in the Progressive Party there. He served in Jeremy Corbyn's shadow cabinet as shadow Brexit secretary. And following Corbyn's resignation after Labour's defeat at the 2019 general election, he succeeded by winning the leadership election ballot. And as leader of the opposition, he moved Labour towards the political centre and emphasised the elimination of anti-Semitism within the party. And his party made significant gains in the 2023 and 2024 local elections. And then, of course, he led Labour to a landslide victory just in 2024 general election, as I said. Yeah. So it's after actually 14 years of Conservative Party governance. Okay, and with the smallest share of the electoral vote of any majority government since record keeping began. And he's announced the Border Security Command in replacement of the Rwanda Asylum Plan and a National Violent Disorder Program in response to the 2024 riots, as well as reforms to workers' rights. And in foreign policy, Starmer has supported Ukraine in the Russia-Ukraine war and Israel in the Israel-Hamas war. Okay, that part I was a little surprised about. And with progressives, yes, so many of them, basically all of them supporting Ukraine. But the thing I was surprised is, being a progressive, that he's actually supporting Israel. So many progressives support Hamas and the pro-Palestine movement. And so with his chart, now, unfortunately, I was not able to obtain his time of birth. So we will be missing his hour pillar. So we're missing 25% of the information. Like I said before, you can still do the reading without the time of birth. It may not be as accurate because the hour pillar, sometimes it doesn't change the chart, and at other times it does. And like I said, and some readers who are very strict on that, they're adamant they would not do a reading without the time of birth, because then they say the reading could be wrong. and they want to give the best service possible, so they might refuse it. But with a lot of politicians, you don't get the time of birth. That's what I found. So if we're going to read them, we have to make do with what we have. So we're just going to work with what we've got, which is just the date of birth. Okay, as long as this is correct, this date of birth that's publicly available, then the reading would be correct. Like I say, a lot of times the reading is only as accurate as the date of birth is. All right? So here, Keir Starmer was born on the 2nd of September, 1962. So from that, we get his year pillar being Yang Water Tiger, his month pillar being Yang Earth Monkey, and his day pillar being Yin Water Rabbit. And like I said before, we don't know what his hour pillar is, so we have to work with 3 out of 4. A fourth one missing. Now, what happens with this? Now, with this, he is water, and he's got a rabbit and tiger combining. They're both, well, the rabbit is pure wood, and the tiger is mostly wood. So we can say he is an output, we're going to assume. And looking at that, he's got the tiger and the monkey. Now, we don't know what his time of birth is, but I can guess, and I'm guessing that his hour pillar is snake. So if he's got the snake there, then he's got a 3 penalty. Okay, and what does the 3 penalty mean? Well, 3 penalties, people with 3 penalties in their chart, they are more, what you call it, to themselves, hidden, and they're not what you think they are. It's not what the person they project is. That's their nature. And I'm going to say that they're more Machiavellians in nature. And Machiavellian means sneaky, cunning, and lacking a moral code type of person. And he's got hidden combinations there. So that supports doing secret deals. So he's someone that would tend to do secret deals behind the scenes. Look, okay, I say all politicians do secret deals, but they don't have that in their nature, and they kind of like adapt to it because they're a politician, that they have to do it. But this Keir, this is in his nature, whether he's a politician or not. He will be doing secret deals. And look, the thing is, he's got authority in his career. I can see that. And there is a clash as well. Got wood and water clashing, and also the monkey and the tiger right next to each other and clashing. Now, the tiger is on the year pillar, which is also the outside, but also your ancestors, and the monkey is in his career. And it's like the year pillar doesn't matter, your ancestors or your upbringing. Now, he grew up in, I think, Surrey, and he was second of 4 children of Josephine Baker, who was a nurse, and Rodney Starmer, a toolmaker. Okay, so he was brought up, he wasn't part of the elite. So I guess and his parents were both Labour supporters, and reportedly named him after the party's first parliamentary leader, Keir Hardie. Now, once upon a time and traditionally, Labour in the UK and also Labour in Australia and the Democrats in the US were supported the working man, the people's party, so to speak, looking after the little guy. But it's been quite evident over the last few years, at least, that they are no longer the working man's party. They don't support that anymore. They're more now the party of the elites. And so looking at this, like his clash with his year pillar, that also represents as ancestors and so forth. That is more like a tradition. So now he's gone into a party he's gone against, and his policies went against the interests of the working man. And the working man now is actually the more conservatives, and the progressives are more elites now. It's just flipped the other way. And people, you know exactly what I mean. You have a look around. Any country that's now being governed by Labor, it's all progressive policies. And even in Australia, and people are having enough. I mean, even Labor under Albanese tried to bring in the voice and spent $400 million trying to get this campaign to recognise, they call it the voice, but recognise Indigenous people in the Constitution, I think. And that was flatly rejected. A whole waste of taxpayers' money for making virtual signalling purposes. So who does that serve? For spending $400 million, it could have been spent on public housing, and helping people that are struggling, rather than this basically does nothing, and to a lot of people it was divisive. So that's what I can see from him. He's going against it, just as with most Labor now in progressive parties. So have a look back at his chart. Yes, in 1985 was when he first got his Bachelor of Laws at the University of Leeds. Then the following year, he got a Bachelor of Civil Law at the University of Oxford. And in 1987, he became a barrister. So all that time, from the 80s there, ox year, tiger year, and 87, rabbit year was wood. I have to say, because he's an output, his best element is going to be wood. Okay, that's his strongest element. And this is when he started getting power, was during the rabbit year, and that is wood. So before it was just study. Now, 2008, he became the head of Crown Prosecution and Director of Public Prosecutions. And 2008, he was going into his ox year. And in 2014, this is when he started his political career. Okay, now 2014, that came into the wood luck cycle, young wood luck cycle. So there's a big career shift. He's got wood there, and so then he starts getting power. Okay, he became Labor parliamentary candidate. And in 2015, he was elected at the 2015 general election, and that was a goat year. And goats and rabbits combine. He's got a rabbit, and so it forms half of a 3-harmony wood combination. More wood, more power. So that's because it's aligned that wood's his favourite element. I'll say he is an output person, and so his year pillar is not going to change that. Okay, so that's the clues that we can get. Now, 2016, he supported remaining in the EU in that referendum, as we mentioned, and that was a monkey year. And a monkey year, and monkey is on his career pillar. So they're emphasizing supporting the elite and turning his back on ancestors, the year pillar, with their clash with the year. And in the January of 2020, he became Labor leader. Now, 2020, where is that? 2020, he is in the tiger luck cycle. Okay, so that's the same as his year pillar, and it's more wood. Tiger luck cycle. And this year, in 2024, he's still in the tiger luck cycle. And what is this year? This year is the dragon year. And he's got a rabbit and a tiger. And with the dragon, it forms a full seasonal wood combination there again. And so what happens with wood? More power to him. It's great. And so that's the reason why he's become so much more stronger this year. And of course, July, that was the election, and July was a goat month. And goat, what does goat do? He's got a rabbit, and the goat and the rabbit combines. It forms a half three harmony wood combination. There it is, wood again. So he's done extremely well. And to 2024, he's also entered the yin wood luck cycle. So he's got a trio of wood, all this wood. That's why he's got all this authority and luck on his side. Though people have not been happy with what he's done so far. I mean, so unhappy that there's someone that started a petition calling for a fresh general election because they're unhappy. And I think it was a publican, a guy that owns a pub, that started it. And it was only very recently, I think like a week or so ago, and apparently it's gone viral, this petition. Now it's got a few million signatures wanting him a general election so they can get rid of this government that they're unhappy with in terms of the policies. So I'll read you the article that about the publican. It says, a publican already fed up with the new government has said the viral response to his petition calling for a fresh election just months after the vote has been beyond his wildest dreams. Tory voter Michael Westwood's parliamentary petition has, in a matter of days, secured more than 2.5 million signatures backing his plea. Mr. Westwood said he launched it because he believed the Labor government, elected on 4 July, had gone back on the promises the party made. But Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer said he was not that surprised people who did not vote Labor wanted a rerun of the poll. Mr. Westwood, who owns 3 pubs in the Black Country, including the Wagon and the Horses in Albury, said, the people that are currently in charge of the country, in my opinion, lied to get there. He added of the petition, to have my opinion and my thoughts put out there and to find out actually quite a lot of people agree, I think it's fantastic. It just shows that you're not on your own. He went on to predict that tough times were ahead following the national insurance hike and changes to business rates relief announced in the recent budget, which he said would have a detrimental effect on small business. The petition, created on the 20th of November, currently has about 2.7 million signatures and will be considered for a debate in Parliament, although the document will not itself trigger an election. When asked about the petition, the Prime Minister told ITV that he had inherited a lot of problems from the previous government and he had decided to take the hard decisions first. I remind myself that very many people didn't vote Labor at the last election, he said. I'm not surprised that many of them want a rerun. That isn't how our system works. Mr. Westwood said it was his view the Prime Minister had in fact taken the easy option. Small businesses, he said, are the heart of this country. It's what makes this country tick, and there's not going to be any left. He said of his document and its signatories, all I wanted to do was give people a chance to express their opinion. But some people have raised questions over signatories' authenticality, with petition data revealing a number of names to be countries. Speaking to BBC 5 Live, Dr. Daniel Gardam from the Surrey Centre for Cybersecurity said that while only British citizens or UK residents could sign parliamentary petitions, checks were quite minimal. It's self-declaration at the top of the form. He said, so if you're not perhaps a British citizen, it would be quite easy for you to fill this out nonetheless. Dr. Gardam said it was important for systems to balance usability with security considerations. Actually, this isn't the deciding factor in whether we see change. Whether we see another election, he said, adding that there was no harm in Parliament discussing it. So what do you think about this? Look, I think the petition expresses people's sentiments, okay? But whether or not it can bring about another election, I have doubts about that. Because as he says, things don't work that well or that way. So I don't think he will, and I think Starmer is not in danger of facing another general election soon until his term runs out. But looking at his chart, yeah, once he got into 2014, he had a big shift in his career, his parents, and he's been very strong. And and once he's put out to 2024, he's been very strong as well. So looks like, and then after that, for the next 10 years from 2024, he'll be in a wood luck cycle. So he will be strong. So not until 2034 that he's in a real danger. I suppose during that luck cycle, they will still have some ups and downs, but overall, he would be strong. Okay, but once he gets to 2034 in his next luck cycle, it might change. Then he'll get tiger and monkey, and then it will be against dragon, rabbit, and tiger, which forms the wood. So then it would be a bit of a flip-flop. Yeah, it would be harder for him the next luck cycle. But as to this luck cycle, yeah, he's done pretty well, and he would be pretty strong as well. And during November was a pig month. And so the pig combined it with the rabbit as part of a half wood combination as well. And the pig, along with a snake, presumably the snake, the monkey and the tiger would give him four travel horses. But he's still got that in, snake, monkey, and tiger. So whenever he comes into those type of months or years, he gets strong. Like I was saying, it's a penalty chart. And he's Machiavellian in nature. And so because of that, he's not someone I would really trust. Because like I was saying, they indicate a lack of moral code. Sneaky and cunning, so to speak. No, not that you can tell from looking at him. I mean, he looks like, especially when he was younger, he could have been one of those male models, modeling suits and so forth, because they look that time. Look, good-looking man, you wouldn't think. But the thing is, there are people that's more than meets the eye. And this is the thing. Sometimes, a lot of the times, you can't tell by looking at people. And the astrology is what would reveal things about people. And that is something they cannot lie about. And so that's why in particular, when I advise anyone before they're going to marry or become serious with someone, to have a reading done to make sure that that person that you love and you're going to commit to really is the real deal, really is who they present themselves to be, because they cannot lie. Otherwise, I mean, they can give you a false date of birth, but they would have no idea whether or not that date of birth would generate a chart that would speak the lie that they're presenting, and also would really be compatible with you. So that is the big advantage here. Yeah, people cannot lie. And because of that, a lot of the times, politicians, dates of birth out there, I don't think that is really necessarily the correct one. Okay, but then again, if it's already out there and they didn't think of it, then that'll be the correct one. Like maybe this one looks like it could be correct because it's fitting in. Maybe it's already out there before he thought of it, and then you can't retract it. So this is the thing I have to remind our listeners, that the reading can only be as accurate as the date of birth is. Okay, so Keir Starmer, in a nutshell, good-looking person, but from looking at his chart, he is not someone that I would trust. There is more to him than meets the eye. Though he would be strong for the next 10 years in his chart. Okay? So that is Keir Starmer in a nutshell. Now, I've talked about marriage. I've talked about selecting the right partner for marriage, but I haven't talked about the wedding yet. Okay, and so today that's what we'll be talking about, the all-important wedding to a lot of people. And you know what? I suspect that quite a number of women, I'm not saying all, kind of like fall in love with the idea of a wedding itself more than they do their partner, and definitely some really focus on the wedding rather than the marriage itself, which is actually not what you should be doing. You should be doing the other way around. But you know what? I guess everyone, to many little girls, they dream of one day walking down the aisle and putting on the wedding dress and being like a princess. And you know what? In this modern day and age, there is not many occasions where you can put on a ball gown dress, except at your own wedding. I mean, even if you were to go to a formal black tie event, you are not likely to have anyone turn up in a ball gown type of dress. Think Victorian times, that sort of thing. So this is the one occasion where women are kind of like allowed to wear that type of dress and have them feel like a princess. So because of that, I don't blame them for being all about the wedding and trying to make everything perfect and enjoy their day where they are the star. But ladies, please don't lose sight of what this wedding is all about. It's about the start of your life together, not the main event. Okay, because if you do, then you're going to be disappointed, because the wedding is one day. Okay, and the marriage is decades. So please keep that in perspective. So, weddings. One of the big things, even though people dread, even though it's a great thing and things most people like to be a part of, it's always the cost. Run up the bill. Who's going to pay for the bill? How much as well? Okay, so I thought I'd have a look, and in particular, just how much a wedding costs in Australia. And I think that because of the cost of living crisis and inflation in particular, everything has gone up. And especially, wedding venues and catering and so forth. It seems like it almost doubled within the last, even 5 years in a lot of places. So having a look at this article, it may already be out of date because things are happening and moving so quickly. So this is an article from ABIA, which is Australian Bridal Industry Awards. And their survey reveals the average cost of a wedding in Australia from 10,000 couples over a period of 12 months. And in a recent study, couples openly revealed their original wedding budget and the actual cost of their wedding, and the number of guests who were present to celebrate their special day. Okay, so what's the economic impact of weddings in Australia? Well, the answer is it's a staggering $1.9 billion in a country of 25 million people. So that is a figure that speaks volumes about the significance of weddings in our society. And with over 118,000 marriages taking place annually, the industry, well, it's a vital part of the nation's economic landscape, a lot of GDP, part of GDP. And one of the most remarkable aspects of the Australian wedding industry is its ability to keep the majority of its financial activities within the country. And this not only sustains the industry itself, but also supports numerous small family-owned businesses across the country as well. So let's have a breakdown of it. I mean, state by state, the biggest is expectedly, not surprisingly, New South Wales tops the list with 1.94 billion, Queensland 760 million, South Australia 311 million, Victoria comes in at a second, 1.4 billion, Western Australia 420 million. And they surveyed real couples to rate their review of wedding venues. And the four judging criteria: quality of product, quality of service, attitude of staff, and overall value. And the average cost of a wedding in Australia nationwide stands at $41,400. And the initial wedding budget on average was set at $34,160. So that is $7,000 difference. It's quite substantial, and which reveals that couples typically spend 18% more than what they originally planned for. It's very easy to go over budget. Sometimes you might be unrealistic because sometimes when you go and select stuff, then you select, I like the other thing better. It's a bit more expensive. Yeah, willing to pay for that. And the other thing, I'd rather have that upgrade, and that seems better. And I guess things just add up. Okay, and the average number of wedding guests in attendance was 90.57. So I say a bit under 100 people. Now, that is a typical typical mainstream wedding. And as I understand it, a typical Aussie wedding, 100 people would be considered a large wedding, huge wedding. However, when you go into ethnic communities, that is actually, in a lot of times, that's actually considered a small wedding. Okay, I mean, something like Indian weddings, you have a few hundred people, as well as Asian weddings, typically a few hundred people, and Middle Eastern weddings, typically a few hundred people. I think a smallish wedding for them is like 200 or 300 people, and typical wedding for them is like 500 people, from what I've heard. Okay, so why is this the case? It comes down to, I guess, a lot of traditions. I guess because the couple, I guess, where the bride and groom's family, at least, or them, have to pay for the reception. And so because it gets pretty expensive, that's why the wedding guest list is kept low to minimize cost. Okay, that's why it's typically, I think it might be like something like 60 guests as an average, and 100 guests is a huge wedding. Whereas in ethnic communities, I guess in particular Asian communities and Middle Eastern communities, it's the actual guests that pay for the wedding. And why is that? Why did I say that? It's because instead of wedding gifts, they actually give money to the couple as a blessing. And the amount of money is normally, as politeness and form of decorum, is at least enough to cover their per head, how much it costs their per head in seating. And so it's pretty much, that's why it's just like the guests pay for the wedding, so to speak. And so the polite thing to do is at least cover your per head. And so that takes off a lot of financial pressure off the couple. Like instead of paying all this money and getting all these useless gifts or gifts things they've already won't have anything useful for, at least the money then goes towards paying the wedding bill. And a big thing that would help couples is not to be stuck with being hit financially or stuck with a loan. Like some people take out loans to just have a wedding, which I think is crazy if you have to do that. And so that really helps take the pressure off the couple. And anything that's left over, if they have really generous guests, then that goes towards the bride and groom's new life. Ask for them a little bit of gift to start the ball rolling on their new life. So that's with Asian and Middle Eastern weddings. But the thing, I think with Indian, it's a bit different. I think Indian weddings have so many people, they don't necessarily give money. I don't think they give money. It's more the wedding per head cost is low. That's why they can afford to have more people. But Asian and Middle Eastern weddings, I think Asian weddings, you have like 8-course banquets, and now it costs like $200 a head. And so people front up. That's why having to pay now like $200 a head for guests. And so that's why people don't bring their children to these weddings, because you've already taken up someone's spot that's costing them, the bride and groom, $200. So, and that's why. And why do they invite so many people? Well, one, it's not so much an ego thing, like, oh, look how many guests I had at my wedding. But one, it doesn't really, because if guests are polite, it doesn't matter how many they invite because they're going to be covered. But it's also a matter of expectation that they be invited. It also forms a way of making social connections and bonds are reaffirmed. And so if you're in, a certain closeness to the couple or the family, if they're not invited, they're going to think, oh, did I do something wrong that offended them? Are they angry with me? That's why I wasn't invited. Yeah, it's all understood, honestly. And not inviting that person would be seen as a snub if you're at a certain closeness, so to speak. And then it's also, yes, it's a good thing that people cover their per head, but also according to their standing in society and, of course, the financial capacity. For example, yes, you might, general rule is covering your per head. However, what you expect from a pensioner and what you'd expect from, say, a doctor, I guess that's a doctor that's coming to your wedding, would be different. So, say the pensioner might be paying, say, like come with $200 as a gift. You think, oh, you praise the pensioner. She or he, oh, can't believe they able to make that amount. Whereas the doctor that's fronted up to the wedding and also turns up with $200, I think, come on, you can do better than that with the way what much money you have. So you praise the pensioner and you tell off the doctor. Or just imagine if Gina Reinhardt turned up to a wedding and gave you $200. Okay, what would you think? She's paid the same amount as everyone else. She's not kicking, but you praise the pensioner and tell Gina off. You think, come on, someone with that amount of money, you can do better than that. Come on. Then that is really being tight with her. You get my drift. So, yeah, matter of expectation as well. And social. And of course, yeah, the closer you are to the couple, the more that you give as well. All right. Now, breakdown of wedding budgets. It's inevitable that couples are allocating more funds to their special day. And this trend is a result of couples prioritizing top quality vendors and services that bring that extra touch of excellence to their wedding experience. Whether it's a destination wedding, upgraded food options, unique entertainment, distinctive styling, or other personalized services, couples are choosing to invest in these aspects that enhance their celebration. While the increase in cost does play a role, a significant part of this upward trajectory in spending can be attributed to couples' deliberate choices to engage with trustworthy and reputable vendors that align with their vision. The expense of weddings hinges on several factors such as the guest count, the chosen time of the year for the wedding, whether it's a weekday or weekend event, the experience level of the vendors, the range of services required, beverage and catering preferences, and more. To offer deeper insights into the financial landscape of Australian weddings, here's a detailed breakdown of wedding budgets. Breakdown of couples' wedding expenditure is as follows. Less than $20,000 is 22.7% of the market. Between $21,000 and $39,099 is 39.9%. Okay, and between $40,000 and $60,000 is 31.1%. So that in the middle range is where the majority is. And between $60,000 and $100,000, it's 8.9% of the market. And over $100,000 is 5.4% of the market. So not surprisingly, that's the smallest part of the market. Those are willing to spend over $100,000, as much as a house deposit on their wedding. Though most of the people that are spending that amount would have no problems spending that amount. I think it's talking celebrity weddings and people that are well-to-do. Though I did hear of a couple of people that actually took out loans just to have their dream weddings. And in one sad case, I know of someone that has run home all about, I'm a woman, I can do independent woman, do whatever I want. And when she was going to get married, ran home to dad and demanded that he pay for her wedding because it's dad's responsibility, and she wanted her dream wedding. She wanted to come out of a carriage like Cinderella. And so he had to go and get a loan from the bank to give her that wedding. And the marriage lasted 1 year. How do you like that? And then when she got married again, she ran back to Daddy, I'm getting married. So he had to pay for a second wedding. If you're going to go for a tradition like that, okay, Mummy and Daddy pay for your wedding. Then on the flip side for tradition, he is supposed to choose who you're going to marry. So I don't think you can have it both ways. If you're going to follow your tradition, then it's all the way. He chooses the husband for you. And the way he pays for your wedding then. If you're going to choose your own, you pay for it. Or why isn't the man that's going to marry you be willing to put out a dime to marry you? Look, if a man is not willing to put out a dime to marry you, should you be marrying him? Seriously. Think about that. Though I suspect with a lot of women, cases they're too afraid to bring that up or push him in case then you say, oh, no, stuff it, forget it, not marrying you. If that's the case, should you be marrying him? Really think about it. Women, where is a woman's pride? Where is your pride? That you mean something, that you are worth something. Really. Think about it. Now, the most popular popular months to get married, and undoubtedly, I think this is the time it's wedding season because it is the warmer months. So this is going to be a subject a lot of people are thinking about. Those that are getting married, I would have been planning around this time. And Australia is undoubtedly fortunate to enjoy stunning weather year-round, but the popular wedding months, of course, would be the warmer season, and in particular, March in the autumn and October and November in the spring. Because the height of summer is just really hot. And in Australia, it gets to 40 degrees, and not only the bride out there would have her makeup melting on her as she sweats it out and ruined all the other photos, but also the groom in his suit, wearing a jacket. It's very uncomfortable, So I am not surprised that it would be autumn and spring in Australia that is the most popular. So then warm enough that you don't shiver and be comfortable enough, but not hot enough that you would just sweat your makeup off. Okay. Yet a distinct pattern emerges across all states. December, associated with both the festive season and the heat, becomes the least favoured wedding month. The same applies to July in winter. And I'll tell you, winter this year in Australia, or at least in New South Wales, has been particularly cold, more so than everyone was complaining about it. However, that type of trend doesn't apply to Queensland because it's got mild and pleasant days in June, July and August. So that's the reason why it's known as the Sunshine State. It experiences higher wedding numbers during the winter months, so making it an appealing destination wedding location. Considering a summer wedding in Queensland might warrant careful thought, however, especially if you're donning a suit, given the potential discomfort in warmer temperatures. So anyone that's lived in Queensland or been in Queensland would know not just the warmer weather, but warmer temperature, but it's the humidity that really gets you. Okay, you really feel the effects of humidity, and it makes things hotter and far more uncomfortable than what the thermometer would suggest. Now, on to celebrants, to the ceremony itself. Celebrants are a popular choice. And according to the Bureau of Statistics, there's a notable surge in the number of celebrants officiating wedding ceremonies in Australia, currently at 80.3%. So people are going less religious. And also, I guess, besides religion, you might have people from different faiths getting married. And I guess to resolve this issue of conflict, they just go, hey, let's just do it non-religious and just do it civil. It's legality. That's it. And if you're in the process of choosing a marriage celebrant for your wedding day, the ABIA strongly emphasises the significance of a thorough research. So seek referrals, delve into verified wedding reviews and testimonials, and take the time to meet the potential celebrants in person. Now, the average wedding celebrant cost in Australia is $924. However, there are many different types of ceremonies. Longer and more personalised and tailored service may cost upwards of $1,200. So consider what you want for your ceremony and budget accordingly. And now, average cost of a wedding in New South Wales, because it's with the highest number of marriages because it is the most populous state in Australia, stands at 35.3%. And it also takes the wedding cake for the highest average wedding expenditure, standing at $49,900, basically $50,000. And the average original wedding budget is $41,000. And the average number of wedding guests is 102 people. And average number of interstate guests is 14 people and international guests 5 people. Now, looking at the breakdown of all the bits that make up a wedding. Photography. Up next. Look, photography is important. It captures the wedding day. So I guess a lot of people want to hire a professional photographer. And because, you spent that much money on your wedding, so you want to capture memories of it and in the best possible light. And on the recent survey, the average cost of a wedding photographer in Australia is $3,389. So, and many couples look for a mix of candid and pose photographs for their wedding day. Now, wedding dress. For most brides, the wedding dress costs will often represent one of the most expensive items of clothing they'll ever buy in their lifetime. And the average wedding dress budget comes in at $2,502. Three-quarters of brides purchase their dress brand new, and a further 17% have their gown custom made. Given it is a highly emotive purchase, 69% of brides keep their wedding gown to cherish. It just mentions about buying, though I guess the mainstream, that's what they do. But in a lot of communities, you can actually hire a dress, which a lot of people in the Asian community do. And so that lowers your cost of your wedding, because it's a dress you only wear once anyway. So you're not going to wear it again. So why not just hire? Okay. Wedding cars are next. For your wedding, it isn't just about getting from point A to point B. It's about making an entrance in the most stylish way possible, and also how it would look in the photographs as well. And also finding an experienced driver you can rely on. And the average wedding car cost in Australia is $1,192. And the two most popular wedding car styles among Australian couples are vintage and classic. I mean, why not? I've heard of some fronting up in a limousine, but limousines now seem almost tacky, so to speak. So most people go vintage or classic. Now, video graphics. 73% of all couples surveyed are choosing to have their wedding filmed. And of these, 78% will engage a professional videographer. Wedding videography has become increasingly in recent years as couples don't want to miss out on capturing the raw emotions of the wedding day. And I say, why not if you've already spent that much on your wedding? And they cost an average $3,389, about the same as a photographer. However, if you're on the fence about hiring a videographer and worried about the costs, you can find a supplier that can offer both photography and videography at the same time to save money. Now, wedding music. Whether it's a live band or a killer DJ, having good wedding music at your wedding can make or break your night, because this is basically entertainment. And you want to make sure that your chosen wedding music supplier can create the perfect ambience for your ceremony while ensuring the dance floor remains packed during the reception. Come on, you just don't want people just sitting around and eating and talking and then that's it. It's so boring that way. So on average, Australian couples will need to budget $2,037 for their wedding music costs. The most popular option is a DJ, because that is also the cheapest, as I understand it. It also provides a wider range of music. Whatever you want, they can just whack it on with a disc. And followed by a band DJ combo, and for a fewer couples, an acoustic duo. Now, wedding flowers. Well, stunning flowers will elevate the look and feel of your wedding day and bringing your theme together. And according to the most recent survey, the average Australian couple spent $2,444 for their wedding flowers costs. And I'm surprised it is actually that low, given, the bride's bouquet, flowers for the bridesmaids as well, and for the groom, and for the tables. I expected it to be a bit more because most people just go to the florist to order it done. And anyone that's ordered things from the florist, it's not cheap. No. Now, for those that want to cut costs a bit more, and instead of going to a venue, they go for catering. Look, making sure your guests are well fed is crucial in planning a wedding because it can take up a significant chunk of your overall budget. And the average wedding catering cost in Australia was $6,308. And many Australian couples are sticking with the traditional alternate drop meals, while 44% opted for various other styles, including finger food, buffets, grazing tables, food trucks, and feasting platters. Now, wedding hire venues. Bringing extra furniture or hiring decor for your wedding. The average cost of a wedding hire furniture and decor items was $2,421. It's been down from the previous year. So if you're interested in bringing things like marquees, ceremony chairs, and things like that. So that's wedding hire. Now, formal wear. Grooms or groomsmen, formal wear costs will come in around $2,169. It can depend on how many people you have as part of your wedding party and who is helping with the costs. The average couple will have 8 people in their wedding party, including themselves. So this works out to be the traditional benchmark of 3 groomsmen. If you're having more people in your wedding party, then of course you need to alter your budget accordingly. Now, decorations. Okay, this is separate from a wedding hire, and it comes about a styling aspect of your wedding theme. And it could be anything from specialty linens and napkins to a custom ceremony or personalized sign welcoming guests into your reception. Most couples will spend around $2,443 for their wedding decorations costs, but this number can vary significantly depending on your wedding vision and whether you're working with a stylist or designer. Now, bridesmaid dresses. Okay, when it comes to bridesmaid dresses, most couples spend an average of $806 on the total cost of their bridesmaid dresses. So they're likely to spend less than $200 on each dress, while another 32% will spend between $200 and $400 on each dress. However, it's not just going to end there. There's hair and makeup as well, and then there's shoes as well. And this is one thing I always thought that, well, at least in Asian weddings and so forth, in traditions, that the couple actually pays for everything regarding the bridesmaid. The dress, the hair, the makeup, the shoes, and the bouquet. It's because, well, you're asking someone to do you a favor and be a bridesmaid for you. So it's only right that you cover the expenses of that because they're putting in their time, their day for you. But apparently, according to Aussie tradition, the bridesmaid have to pay for themselves. I don't understand that. And I don't know why a bridesmaid would be willing to do that. Because I've heard of a couple of stories. Well, later on, the bride and groom came and said they spent more on their wedding than they planned to. So can you help them out by paying for yourselves? Your wear bridesmaid dresses and so forth. And to me, that smacks of a really rude, though. If you can't afford a bridesmaid to pay for stuff for the bridesmaid, don't have them. Really, it's rude. It's smacks of like you're asking for someone to, buddy, can you come around and help me paint the fence this weekend? And if the person's nice enough and saying, okay, I'll come and help you. And then before that weekend, oh, look, buddy, you're coming around to help me paint the fence, but I spent so much money on the renovations, I'm a bit short. Do you mind buying the paint as well and coming to help me paint? Really? Like I say, how rude can you be? What's the difference, really? Yeah, that is something I completely don't understand and I don't agree with. You can't afford it, afford bridesmaid and groomsmen to pay for them, don't have them. Simple as that. Now, invitations. And they cost around $945. And that comes with the cost of stamps as well. And I find that to be rather, that is a cost I was surprised about. So I guess, now in the day and age, you can cut that cost by sending it digitally. I mean, digital invitations cost almost nothing now. Email them out. So that can be a factor in bringing down that cost. Next is the wedding cake. Your wedding cake may be one of the most delicious and expensive desserts you'll ever buy. And the average wedding cake costs $650. Ordering a wedding cake that's large enough to feed all your guests can certainly be a money saver, as you can serve the cake after dinner without having to spend more on extra desserts. And I guess, that price is about right. I mean, anyone who's ordered a cake, even a birthday cake, would know that it's at least $100 now for a decent one. A pretty good one, a pretty larger one. Though if you're expecting a wedding cake, then it's like all of a sudden any supplier, as soon as they hear a wedding, the prices just shoot up. There's all a mirage of excuses why, but that's around the same thing. And I've heard of people, spending $1,000 on the wedding cake. Someone told me once, and I guess he said, it was a magnificent cake. Anyway, to each their own. Hair and makeup. But couples should budget approximately $895 for their wedding hair and makeup costs. 64% of hair and makeup artists used by these couples are completely dedicated to serving weddings only. And I guess $895 though, I think that this only covers the bride now. I think most people, most makeup artists are charging easily $500 just for makeup now for the bride for the big day. So what about bridesmaids too? Let's see. And this is extra cost. Photo booths are a fun addition to your wedding reception, and you can expect to spend about $1,007 on photo booth hire for your wedding, with a variety of booths to decide between. So couple preferences are fairly and evenly distributed between the traditional enclosed photo booth, one run by their photographer, and innovative booths as well, and Polaroid style photo booths. Now, bomboneri, it doesn't happen in every wedding, but it's one of the final touches that you'll purchase in the lead up to your wedding, and it's wedding favors, also known as wedding favors. Wedding bomboneri costs an average of $889, which with most couples spending up to $5 to $10 on each favor for their wedding guests. So for those not familiar, they're what you usually find on the reception table as a little gift, a little memento to each guest, both as a decoration and also as a token of something to remember the wedding by. So that is it for weddings and wedding costs. Weddings are some are a nightmare to arrange. Sometimes they cause the source of arguments as to preferences, because sometimes the parents want to be controlling, especially if they're paying for the wedding, want things their own way, what they want, and couples push back. And some couples, by all rights, I guess, if whoever's paying for it, they should have the say. Though I've heard of instances where one party pays but has no input to how it's spent, and the other party spends whatever it's their way, even though it's someone else's money, which I don't think is right. Whoever pays for it has the most say, actually should have sole say. If you're not happy with that, then pay for your own wedding. As I say, that's the right thing to do. Whoever pays for it has the say. And that is my thought on the matter. If you don't agree or you have comments about that, then feel free to leave your comments on my Facebook page, Miss Dragonfly or Make Marriage Great Again. Now, we're coming towards the end of our show today and for the year as well. Okay, just a bit of a recap. I've had a look at the astrology chart of Keir Starmer, the new British Prime Minister that has swept into victory in July 2024 in a landslide victory after the outgoing Conservative Tory party has been in power for like 14 years. So I guess people wanted a change, turned him in to the left of politics, and it's only been a few months and now they've had enough of leftist politics and policies and want to get rid of him via a petition that a pub owner has started, and it's gathered a few million signatures. So what is it about this Keir Starmer? Well, looking at his background, he came from rather humble beginnings, and I guess he started in the Labor Party. And, Labor, as with Labor in Australia as well, like the Democrats in the US, have traditionally been for the working man and the average man, the underdog, so to speak. But now it seems it's flipped, and it's now the party of the elites. And through looking at his charts, he has a clash in his career against the outside pillar, which it's also an ancestor pillar. So what is used to be tradition and so forth and where he's come from, it's like now he's turned his back against that. So no longer continuing honouring traditions and so forth and his roots, he's flipped now. And also his chart, like I was saying, he's like a Machiavellian, so to speak. Features in his chart show that he, cunning and so forth, and lacking a moral code. Yeah, this is the advantage of an astrology reading, is you see things more clearly that they can't hide. And he has hidden combinations in his chart, which indicates secret deals being done, or someone that's more inclined to make secret deals and things in the background, if you know what I mean. So, accordingly. And he came into power when he was going into a output period, which is, in his case, wood. So, and this year he's got even more wood, with the dragon combining with his existing rabbit and tiger to form a seasonal wood combination. So more power to him, and especially when he swept into power, that was in July. So July is a goat year, and the goat combines with his rabbit to form a partial 3-harmony wood combination. So more wood for him there. So, and on top of those two woods, he has just gone into, he is in a period of wood. He's just gone into the yin wood luck cycle. So more wood for him. And so he'll be having, and this wood period, after this yin wood period's over, he'll have a rabbit year as well, rabbit luck cycle, so I should say. And so he should be pretty strong for the next 10 years. So generally he'll be strong. Look, there'll still be times in there when he goes through certain years or certain months where it's unfavorable, and so he'll be weaker during that time. But generally he will be strong. So it's unlikely that he will be forced that petition for a new election to kick him out. While, that expresses the sentiment of the population and of millions of people that have been unhappy with him, it's unlikely to go anywhere, and he'll at least see out the remaining of his term. That is if he's the people may forget about this early period and may still vote him in the next period, as is a habit of people giving new governments more than one term. So you never know what would happen in 4 years' time. I'm not sure if it's 3 or 4 years in the UK, but whenever the next election is due. Okay, he might still be able to see it through unless it's in an unfavorable period within this time. Okay, but generally this time, even if he loses the next general election, he might still be quite fortunate. Like he's still be able to obtain some important post or so forth, ambassador to say US or one of those higher plum jobs, so to speak. So he'll be fine, even if he loses the next election. Though after 2034, from then on, then, he'll be able to have a bit of a flip-flop. So it's hard time, but yeah, it should still be pretty good for him. So in all respect, yeah, he's still pretty good. I mean, in the beginning was more challenging. He came from humble beginnings and so forth. But when he first got started, he was still in a lot of output. I guess in 1985, when he started studying, but he really started becoming powerful, I guess, in his power in 2008. Okay, and where he really started, he became head of Crown Prosecution Services and Director of Public Prosecutions, a lawyer by trade, and have done criminal law and been a prosecutor. And during that time, where he started his political career in the Yangwood luck cycle. So there was a big career shift for him, and that's when he became powerful. He started as Labor parliamentary candidate and elected at the 2015 general election, and that was a goat year. So goat and rabbit combines to produce wood, partial 3 harmony wood combination. So lucky for him there. And so in 2016, he supported remaining in the EU. And so January 2020, when he became Labour leader, he was in the Tiger luck cycle. So that was more wood for him. And came on to 2024, Dragon year. So that combines with his rabbit and his tiger to produce a 3 harmony wood combination. So all in all, because he's what he's done matches with the output type of chart, is consistent with wood favouring him, I'll tend to say that this is actually his real date of birth. Okay, and he's still staying as an output person, even though we don't know what his time of birth is, and therefore we don't know what his hour pillar is. Though I do suspect that it is a snake, then it would give him that 3 penalty, because like I was saying, he's got clashes and secret deals going on. He's someone that tends to do secret deals, no matter which occupation he is in. And we also covered weddings. Finally, the cost of weddings generally has really blown out, though they're still very popular, and people it's go into it. Most people think that it's once in your life, and so let's make it a memorable occasion. And for many little girls growing up, they're dreaming of their big day and how they'll be able to dress up as a princess and that sort of thing. Look, if every girl's dream, let's let her have it, but also be sensible about it, I have to say, and do it within your means. Like, I don't agree with people badgering their parents to pay for the wedding. Okay, having the parents take out a loan, or even if they're paying for themselves, take out a loan to it. And like a big part of any wedding is the reception cost. That's why Aussie weddings tend to keep the numbers low. Whereas ethnic weddings, particularly Middle Eastern and Asian weddings, where instead of gifts, the guests actually give money, and the polite thing to do is to cover your per head. So, yeah, instead of giving useless gifts, sometimes at least cover it. And so you're able to cover the reception costs for the couple, and that relieves a lot of financial pressure of the couple. And then the only expenses there are clothing, photography, flowers, and cake, and that have you. And that offers a lot of relief. So that's something that I think mainstream Aussie and even Western society should think about. Okay, that and the trend is being now marriage celebrants in weddings and so forth. Though I'm surprised about how much it costs now. Every like $1,200, well, almost $1,000 for civil celebrants now. And cost of flowers, music, and photography, videographer, bridesmaids and groomsmen as well. I am surprised that the Western tradition is the bridesmaid pay for themselves. I'm thinking, who on earth would do that? How rude. Normally, I think, ethnic groups normally, the bride and groom cover it, because you're asking someone, end of the day, you're asking someone to do you a favor and being your groomsman or your bridesmaid. And so the least you can do is cover the expenses of them, the dresses, the makeup, and the shoes. Okay? And if you can't, then don't have one. Very easy. Analogy is like you're asking someone to do you a favor and come help you to paint the fence in the weekend, then turn around and ask them if they can pay for the paint too and come help you paint your fence. Normally people would think that's really rude. And to me, what's the difference then? Okay, so consider that. And so, we're coming towards the end of the show for the year. That's it for 2024. And I'll hope to be back with a brand new show next year. Actually, I will be back in January 2025 with a brand new show, different format. And it'll be a bit of a surprise. So make sure you follow me on my Facebook page to be updated, to be informed of new developments and what's happening with the show as well. And just search for Miss Dragonfly or Make Marriage Great Again. Please follow both if you can, because I do post different things on both the Facebook pages, but at least follow one. And if there's a topic you'd like me to cover, then please feel free to leave it there as well. And if I'm able to cover it, then I will. And also what your thoughts are of today's show or the shows in general. Okay? So that's it for the show. I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you again with a bigger and better show in 2025. And until then, it's bye for now.